welcome back to the channel. I've had a bad cold for the last few days, nothing more serious, just a really bad head cold due to the change in temperature in this part of the world, and we're in early autumn now, and the colours are starting to develop. And as you've seen from the intro footage, I've bought myself an electric mountain bike. My reasons for doing that are very simple. I'm losing mobility in my right knee, and that's causing a problem because I can't walk as far as I want easily because the sheer weight being impacting on my knee hurts quite a bit. So what I've decided to do is get exercise and also mobility by having an electric assisted bike, and I didn't really want to spend a lot of money on it. So yes, as I said, I didn't want to spend a lot of money on one, so I bought a really cheap Chinese made one that I'd read quite a few reviews about, and all the reviews were really very glowing. And as when I was in Devon on holiday, I had an actually very expensive hired specialised Levo, I think it was Lino or Levo, mountain bike, electric assisted, and found it so easy to get up and down the hills. I really decided then that I would actually buy a mountain bike, which is what I've done. It arrived 2 days after I placed the order, all nicely boxed up, and I put it together, and I've given it probably 12 kilometres of riding so far, and I've been very, very pleased with it, very surprised just how good it is, and it's allowed me to go to places easily that I just couldn't easily walk to. So I brought it along today because I've got the backpack here with the camera in. I've also got Aussie, so we've come up to the woods, and the mist I was seeing lower in the valley unfortunately doesn't appear to be up here, so I'm not sure if I'll find what I'm looking for, but I thought let's go and give it all a try, bring you guys along, let you see my little adventure as it is. I'll probably end up covered in mud and hopefully I won't fall off, but we will see. So I'm just arriving at the place I'm going to park the car, and we'll get the bike off and then we'll go for an adventure. Well, it's safety as always with these things, so I've got this little lightweight hat which we'll put on. The camera's in the car, Aussie's having a good sniff around, and I'm going to get the bike off the rack on the back of the car. So all I need to do is release this restraining strap here, move those out of the way. Lift it up, put it on its side stand. Well, and there she is, sitting in all her pride and glory on the side stand. It's quite heavy, it's about 20 kilos, but with the electric assistance it really doesn't matter, except in times where you have to sort of carry it anywhere, like over a bridge or a stile or something, or up some steps, which I had to do yesterday, which is a little bit tiring, but it's well worth it, because the only issue I've got with it is the brakes are mapped the wrong way. The right hand one is actually the rear wheel, it should be the front, that's the British standard anyway, and I'm going to have to get that changed over, but I'll just be a bit careful because I don't want to go over the handlebars. They're only about 26-inch wheels, so there's more temptation for that on these bikes than if they had sort of 28 to 29-inch wheels. So let's go and get the camera equipment. Excuse the sniffing and snuffing, it's this cold I mentioned. It's nearly gone now, but I was a little annoyed to catch it. I've been 2 years without anything like that while this COVID's been going on, but clearly I came into contact with someone that had something. So I'll put you down and let's get on the bike and let's see how it all works. Right, negotiating some bumpy bits here, some roots and old trees, which it handles very nicely, and try not to run over any broken glass because I know there's some up here. And there are a couple of tree roots, there's one, and there's a second. There's a second one. Yes, the skills of biking from a childhood, a long time ago. Aussie, come on this way. Yes, I think it must have been about 20 years ago I last rode a bike seriously. I used to be quite into it as a child. I suppose most of us of our generation got quite a lot of freedom from having bikes, a freedom which has been replaced by the car for a lot of children now. Either parents running them around or them getting to an age where they've got their own. Oh, there's some nice sunlight coming through some woods just to my right here. I think we'll stop and have a look at that. Whoops. Yeah, no, that's a lot. It's very early morning, 20 past 7. The sun's come up and it's actually peering through all of these leaves like this and lighting them up from the back, and it looks really nice. So I'm going to stop and take a shot here. Okay, so we've got the tripod set up. I've got the 32 to 64, which is 24 to 50 equivalent zoom on here, which in the use of so far I found incredibly capable lens in terms of sharpness. So let's just get that on there. Yeah, we've got the lens cap on. First mistake, always make that mistake. And we've just got the light coming through here. You're sitting on the back of the bike at the moment, it comes in useful as a second tripod, which is really handy. So make sure the settings from last night are removed because I was taking some shots at sunset. Go down to ISO 100, 60, 25, 120, and I want to focus stack this image because there's some leaves very close in the front. In fact, I haven't framed up the shot yet, but there will be quite a lot of depth of field needed for this shot, so I think something a little bit like this. Let's see. Ozzy's panting because he's having to walk or run to keep up with me, so he's getting more exercise as well. Yeah, that's quite a nice little shot. I'm not quite sure of the framing of it, but I think it's pulling across the idea of this backlighting that's coming in and nicely lighting the underside of these yellow and green turning leaves here. So let me set up drive to bracket, okay. Now I want the closest focus point to be as close as it can get. We'll have F16 to minimise the number of shots it has to take, and then we'll have the distant focal point set to I'll set it close to infinity actually. Let's go for 50 meters. That's 30 meters, 10 meters, 20 meters. Yeah, that should get everything in focus. So let's see what that does with that shot. 2-second timer. How many shots is it going to take? 1 of 59. 59 shots to pull all this together. My computer, I'm pleased I upgraded to the Mac M1 because I'm certain my PC would never have handled this volume of images being pulled into Helicon focus. So I keep looking backwards and forwards, one to see where Ozzy's gone to because he's disappeared again, and the other is because I don't feel comfortable talking to camera when there are people about. I'm just keeping an eye out for people. So that's working its way through those shots. So I think we'll fast forward to the end of this. Each shot is probably about a third of a second. At F16, yeah, we're F16. So what the camera's doing, just to explain, is it's taking shots, and after each shot it increments the focal point, or the focused point, focal point, whatever you want to call it, further on by a tiny amount. The idea behind it is, with no wind as we've got at the moment, each shot should be overlayable by Helicon focus or Photoshop, and each one that's in the sharp parts of each picture then get merged together, for those of you that are not familiar with focus stacking, and the end result is an image that from the very closest to the very furthest point that I set up when I set this up are all in focus. Let's see, 31 of 59. The only downside to this technique is it does tend to eat battery up because that's 59 shots I'm taking just to achieve one shot. but it's nice up here this morning. It's quite chilly. There's a chill in the air. We're definitely coming well into autumn now. It would be a shame. The colours could be a little bit better than they are, but oh well, you have to work with what you've got. And these, I think these are sweet chestnut trees, and the leaves are quite large, relatively, and they do change at different colours, because the scene I'm looking at, there's still normal green, and then there's some well into yellow and orange, all on the same branch. So they obviously age at different rates, even though they're the same branches. But hey ho, where are we at? 49, 10 more to take. So I will put that one in the bag. What I think I'll do is I'll walk into this area, because as the sun is changing while I'm talking, I'm losing the backlighting. It's actually gone on some of these shots now, so that's probably going to give me a problem blending them together. I might not get the result I wanted, but hey ho, 59 done. So let's go and see what else we can get. So this is the framing that I actually had for this. It's got the sun, which now isn't shining through because the sun's gone behind the tree, and it's also gone behind a cloud by the look of it. But it was here, it was actually lighting up all of this in the foreground with the first shot I took. So if I do a playback and go right back to, if I can, you can see the sun starting to creep into the picture as I cycle through them, to the point it's at its maximum here, and these leaves are nicely lit up. I think Helicon Focus is really going to have a problem. As I say, I think Helicon Focus is going to have its time cut out to try and make anything of that. So I might end up using a single image or a couple of images and blend them manually myself. So I might not need all those 59 to achieve the effect. I won't know until I get it back. So that's the one downside with it taking so many images and taking so long over it. If it had been a more open aperture, it would have taken more images because the depth of field would have been less, and it also would have probably been the faster speed with a wider aperture would actually have meant the total elapsed time probably would have been shorter, but because it would probably take more pictures, it probably wouldn't be either. So bad burn to scolded, as we say. Anyway, that's the idea behind that image. I don't know if it's going to work, but it's nice to be out getting the exercise, trying the bike out again on its now second day. I got it on Friday afternoon. I was working Friday, so I couldn't do any more than ride around the garden on it, just to bed the brakes in and check it out. And I did about 2 miles in the garden, round and round, and everything seemed fine. Tightened everything up. You have to keep checking these things with the bike in case something works loose. I've got a little toolkit with it to fix any sort of minor issues that might come along when I'm off out. Oh, the sun is now poking back right through, and the lighting has now changed, and as you can see, this one leaf here, the sun's going behind a cloud again. That was a moment ago really vibrant, and it's now gone. So you have to be a bit quick with these things, otherwise you miss the opportunity. Yeah, well, as I said, you have to be a bit quick with these, quite fleeting events. So I might have to switch across to single shot mode rather than bracketing the focusing, because I think that shot I took first, I might not have got the result I want. I won't know until I get back and process them as ever, but I'm not overly optimistic, if I'm honest. Anyway, let's move on and see what else we can find. I've known these woods for 20 odd years, and I'm finding parts of them that I didn't know existed. And not only am I finding parts I didn't know existed, there's a problem. Whoops. Negotiate that one, try to avoid the next one. I found some rather photographically very interesting areas up here. A little bit of rough ground there. And I'm coming up the top of a hill that I wouldn't normally come up, because it's on the other side of a valley, and the effort I'd normally have to put into getting down one side, up the next side, then down back again, I don't do and haven't done for some time. Therefore this has remained unexplored from a photography point of view. But my god, there's some really nice stuff up here. I'll spin you around. I don't know if it's coming across in the footage, but I've just actually, the area I've just ridden through probably was better, but there's all this. Lovely, absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to do something a bit unusual. I'm not going to stop and take pictures here now. I'm going to go all the way along this track as I've got the bike and work out where I'm going to come back to. I've already got one place in mind with some really old bits of tree. There's another deep puddle. Do I really want to go through that? I don't think so. Can I get round the back? I probably could, but I'm in the wrong gear. So I'll probably just go right through the middle of it and hope it isn't infinitely deep in the centre, and it wasn't. Oh, the autumn colours of the ferns here, they're starting to look special. Now that is starting to be quite pleasant. Oh, lovely, lovely. Well, this bike is proving to be well worth the money I spent on it. For the price of a decent lens, I've actually managed to acquire mobility, which I didn't have. I'm really enjoying this. I've come to a part of the woods, as I was saying earlier, which I simply wouldn't come to because it's a good 2.5 miles into the woods, along relatively straightforward tracks. As you can see, they're pretty easy and maintainable, or at least maintainable. There's a few puddles, but as long as you go through those slowly, it's probably not doing too much harm. I'll have to give the bike a good clean when I get back. It's caked in mud, as you'd expect, and I'm not sure what the rules are about washing electric bikes, so I'll probably have to read that up and check it out. But coming along this track, as I said earlier, I was going to go to the end of the track and then turn round and come back to the places that I noted which were of interest. Now I'll spin you around because this really is really quite nice, the way the colours are turning, and these silver birch just behind you now. But spinning you round, if I can get the 3 button presses quick enough, which I've just done. So you can see here we've got the track coming along, and that goes off into the distance that way, and I've just come another 300 yards from that end, which is very close to the main road. And there was nothing of any interest there, so I thought I'd noticed on the way up all this bank of ferns. They're quite high actually, they're well above head height, and there's no actual bank there for them to grow on, so they've actually grown that high themselves. And I thought, coming up, that what we've got is some really nice silver birch here, just coming up out of that, and then behind them we've got a couple of old really beech trees, I think they are, just over here. I'll get my finger pointing in the right direction there. I'm using my eye to guide my finger rather than the back of the screen on the camera. And the little Osmo fell off the handlebar mount and ended up hitting the track, and I'm pleased I put a screensaver on because that's taken the hit. It's got chip marks on it, so I'll have to get another one of those, but the actual Osmo itself hasn't got damaged. So what I'm going to do is I'll get the camera out, and I'm hoping to frame an area a little bit like this. Something like that, maybe a vertical format, I don't know, I haven't actually set the camera up yet, but there's some beautiful colours there. The sun has gone behind a bank of clouds. As I said, the sun's gone behind a bank of clouds, so I'm not going to see any vibrant backlighting anymore, but there is a little bit of mist. It's not obvious in the shots that I'll take, because it's really quite diffuse, but it is making the light diffuse, which is a nice thing. So let me get set up and let's see if we get a decent image here as well. I'm not extending the tripod fully, I'm only actually taking 3 of the 4 sections out, leaving the lowest, spindliest one in its closed position because I don't want to be this high up for this shot. So let's have that. I'm hoping to be looking up at the tree a little bit. I'm still only going to use the 32 to 64, partly because I can't be bothered to change lenses, and partly because I think it's actually the right lens for this particular shot. I can't get this out of the bag easily, so let's put that down there out of the way. No lens cap on. Ozzy's panting because he's doing more running than he's done for a very long time. So let's start having a look at the shot, see what we've got. Oh, just as I turn the camera on, that's looking like a nice shot. That's really very pleasant. That little group in the trees. I've got some ferns. Let me pick you up and show you. So let's see on the framing what we've got here. I've got minus 1.5. I find the exposure compensation on this particular Fujifilm really accurate. Round about 0, I don't really need to make any changes unless the scene's got a lot of bright in it and I need to pull that down so I don't lose detail in the sky. But what we've got today is a grey and overcast sky at the moment. I don't see that changing in the near future, and therefore what's visible as grey sky, there's no point trying to expose for that. I need to expose for the things I really want to appear nicely in the shot. So let's choose a focus point. I need to just move slightly back here because one of the ferns is creeping out of the shot, which, yeah, I'm quite wide at 32mm. I might need to pull it in a bit more. Yeah, that's. I've got the focus peaking enabled so that when I turn the focus ring it automatically cuts into a magnified image, and it's got white highlight showing me how things are looking. So I'm going to go with f18 and a single shot. I'm not sure if that's going to work. I'll have to chimp to have a look. So let's just get that one. It's not as if film's expensive because it's SD card, and I've never filled an SD card up yet. I usually empty them well before I get to the point that they're approaching full. Just on that subject, what I tend to do is I've got cloud backup for everything, and when an SD card gets sort of half full, I normally leave all the images on until it gets to that point. Then I'll actually back them all off onto the cloud and keep them as the SD card's name for future reference in case I need to ever go back to the original RAW files. So I've got that shot, and I've got, let's have a look at that. Let's chimp on that. Oh Jesus, that's blooming good. I've focused on the nearest piece of fern, and yet the furthest piece of fern you can count the individual fronds. So I'm not sure whether the in-camera focus stacking is necessary sometimes. Not sure. I'm too new to this camera to have formed a real opinion, but I'm very pleased with that shot. Very pleased. I'll take a second one just to be on the safe side. Oh, no 2-second timer. Oh dear dear. Let's put that on. Otherwise I can't say 2-second timer. The camera's on a tripod, so I doubt if it'll make a lot of difference, but yes, one other change I noticed over my Sony equipment is that the 100 to 200 lens has got internal image stabilization, and with the camera on a tripod it interferes with the image. I took a picture at Buell Reservoir last evening of the sun setting. It's really quite spectacular. Now I'll put it up in a moment just to let you see, but if you look very closely at it, you'll see there's a wiggle runs all down the image vertically from top to bottom, and the only thing I can think is that was image stabilization actually happening, because the camera was stationary on a tripod, and certainly my Sony would be fine with that. It had no issues. In fact, I did tests to prove that image stabilization on tripod needed to be on and worked perfectly, but the Fujifilm seems to behave the opposite way, so I'm going to have to remember that in future when I put the long lens on and use a tripod, simply to turn that off. Anyway, lesson learnt. So that image is ready. I'm going to pack up here and cycle back. There were two other places that really caught my eye as I came along, and I'm going to go to those and see what we can get. I've got to press on now because I'm getting a low battery warning on the Fujifilm. The batteries don't last as long as they did on my Sony, but I've got a couple spare ones. I've got one of them with me, so it's not a big problem. I'd just rather like to get through this last shot without having to switch it out. So for this last shot, what I'm actually doing is I'm making a slightly unusual shot, and by that I mean I'm actually trying to do a product shot of the bike in a off-road setting, mountain biking setting, and to add a bit of interest, I've got these trees and ferns here and the track going into the distance, and we've got Aussie creeping into the frame as well. So if I show you on the camera what that looks like, and it's got the focus highlighting actually showing massively, everything's in focus here. I've got it set at f8, which is, and I've also set the focus point on the bike frame itself so that the logo and everything can be clearly seen. So I'm just fine-tuning that adjustment, and I'm going to take that shot. I'm not bothered if the rest of the image is out of focus, because it's more about making the setting for this, and I think I might even drop to 5.6 so that more of the image is out of focus. So that should be it, and provided Aussie doesn't come out of the frame. Aussie, come here. Good boy. Let's, 2-second timer, take that shot. There we go. Let's have a quick look at it and make sure that it's, yeah, the background's soft, which is exactly what I wanted, and the logo on the bike is absolutely perfect. So I'm actually going to send that shot to Iscoot, the company. I think it's a Chinese company. As I say, I think it's a Chinese company, but they certainly have some facilities in the UK because the bike was shipped directly, and I'll send them that picture and see if they're interested in using it on their website. They're probably not. They've probably got hundreds of people with pictures working for them, but I thought, well, it's a bit different. It's a nice little framing with that silver birch or birch tree hanging over the track going off into the distance, and then my main means of transport, the very thing that's made it possible for me to make these shots today, because I've never been into this part of the woods. Anyway, that's it. That's a wrap up for today. Sorry if it's been a bit long-winded. I hope you enjoyed the excursion and following me with my new experience with the bike. There will be more of this in the future, I'm sure, so you'll have to get used to seeing this. This might be my signature helmet. I might even customise it, I don't know, but in the way Nigel Danson has a furry cap and various other people have their particular styles, then perhaps this will become mine. I don't know. I might fall out of love with the bike, I might come off it, might break my arms and legs, who knows, hope not. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's been a bit different than usual, and I'm going to sign off there, and I'll put the images up in the next few moments, and they'll be in the bit after this. Anyway, I hope you're all doing well. I'll see you in the next video.